your shorts, because you're about to get kicked in the dick. Welcome to Adjust Your Shorts. My name is Ray Stone, and this is the news, or at least my version of Google's version of the news, or my version of Google's version of ABC, CBC, BBC, CBS, CNN, NB, CNNBC, MSNBC, CNNBC. Whoo! It's so many BCs out there. Just all these broadcasting corporations just telling us what we really can't live without. So here we go. Let's get into it. Number one on the list. My neighbors suck. Neighbor news. I got some neighbors that built a very disgusting, ugly house that blocks my view and blocks my driveway. And these people just suck. They've got a ton of money. They forced a hotel in the town, which the town, it's crazy that they were able to do that, but they did. And they asked me yesterday if they could tear up my driveway so that they could put in saguaros. And as I was discussing it with them, come to find out that the only reason they wanted to do that is because their pavers won't be set for a week. So rather than wait for a week and just put it in and use their own driveway access, which is what they're going to do, they wanted to tear up the desert so that they could put in desert. These people are retarded. Happy Women's History Month, everybody. They invented the dishwasher, which doesn't work very well. There you go. Okay, jumping right in here. We're going to start with the Economic Times. The headline, if you can't see it on the screen here, says, ahead of Trump's tariff announcement, pharma bodies brace for big shakeup. What could happen next? And the gist of it is, pharma bodies have been lobbying for Bush for Trump. That's funny. For Trump to be lenient on products that they need. So once again, big pharma is using lobby groups to try to ply the government in order to make themselves rich. The flip side of that coin is, of course, people who do desperately need medication and stuff. It looks like we might be seeing some delays in some goods and supplies. Here was an interesting one. Senator Cory Booker speaks through the night on a Senate floor criticizing Trump and Musk. The filibuster. Oh, look at his eyes are all wonky. Oh my gosh. If you can't see that, his eyes are wonky. So this is one wonky fella. But no, it's funny to see the left just really pushing as hard as they can. It becomes very obvious. It's like, what could they possibly be? I mean, if you actually look at the facts with what the Doge team is doing, according to the rhetoric, not even rhetoric, actually the receipts of what they're doing is they are extracting excess spending and fraud at a large scale. And it seems pretty clear that there are a lot of people on the left who don't want that to happen. I mean, both sides of the table. I shouldn't say on the left. That don't want that to happen. And I think we should be, maybe looking into those people. I did see another thing saying they were going to start looking into senators that have huge fortunes that only make $200,000 a year. I also think we should be doing that. Okay, layoffs begin at U.S. health agencies responsible for research and tracking disease and regulating food. What did I see in this that I thought was interesting? Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy announced a plan last week to remake the department, which through its agencies is responsible for tracking health trends and disease outbreaks. I mean, this is what he said he was going to do. He said he was going to try to fix the food. And in order to get elected, they said you have to stay away from, or in order to be approved, I think they said you have to stay away from the ADA and what's the one that USDA, the one that grades the beef and stuff. Those are the major food agencies in our country, And for some reason, our food is worse than many countries who are not as economically well off as we are, which you have to ask yourself, why is that? Why do we allow poisons in our food that eventually lead to disease instead of not allowing it into the food? And I think we can just go backwards one, and we'll see that the problem is with just how big the pharma lobby groups are. Okay, 22nd Amendment, why Trump can't be elected for a third time. This is interesting. It's funny he's starting to voice that he, that people are talking. Many people are already saying it. They're talking so much about it. My Trump is getting better. And when you say, yeah, who are you talking to? And then you go, yeah, right. He has a Twitter account and a Truth Social account and a Facebook account and all the socials. So many people say it. And if you don't know, you used to be able to serve more than 2 terms. When I was a kid, we were taught it's gospel that you only get 2 terms, but that's not true for the entire history of the country. The reason that it was set into place is former President Roosevelt had 4 terms. So this was ratified in 1951. Ratified means changed. And basically now it says you can only have 2 terms. So I have mixed feelings on this. I think that you shouldn't be able to stay in power in a dictator type of role, meaning forever with no term limit. But I also think that 8 years is relatively short on a world scale when you're talking about there are other leaders that have very strong influences on the world, large militaries, all that kind of stuff. And one of the reasons that they're so capable is because their leadership maintains control. Now, that being said, our leadership seems like it changes hands, but it doesn't change all that often. And I'm just going to give you one little excerpt from history that I learned recently. So I'm very interested in Nikola Tesla. If you don't know who Tesla was, he's the inventor of fucking everything. Look it up, you'll see. And at the time of his death, there were a handful of trunks somewhere. The numbers are between 80 trunks and 240 trunks of inventions and paperwork of his inventions. And he invented everything. I mean, electricity. He understood the electromagnetism. He's the one that discovered the ozone layer. He's the one that was telegraphically transporting electricity, X-rays, photovoltaics, which is solar power. I mean, the guy knew stuff that nobody knows. And when he died, he was still working on projects. And so he had a bunch of trunks, and there was a team of people who decided how much of this information was good. And what they said was, all of the information is of little or no value. And then all of his trunks disappeared. We're talking about the most prominent inventor. They used him, microwave ovens, that was him. The death ray that they used to like superheat people miles away. The laser cannon that they've got that is now the flat earthers argument against, because they can measure how far it can shoot. Well, it must not be real because the earth's curvature is X. It's like, yeah, but all you got to do is just tilt it up a little bit. Did you think the gun was just fixed? People are so silly. Anyway, the team that was responsible for saying that his inventions were of little or no value in those trunks were 2 guys by the name of Trump and Bush. Vermeer Bush, who was Prescott Bush's, I think, father, and then Trump's grandfather, I can't remember, something J. Trump, not Donald, I can't remember his name, but it was Trump and Bush way back then, and we're talking, in the 40s, I think, is when Tesla died, at 87. Anyway, okay, so moving on. Europe says that it holds a lot of trade cards on the eve of Tariff Liberation Day. I wish I was telling you this is an April Fool's joke. It is not. Shit's about to get expensive, so adjust your shorts. You're getting kicked real hard today by the world. Okay, the theory is that we need to turn up tariffs against the rest of the world, where there are massive offsets, like the exact same thing going back and forth. I think we get tariffed 300% on automobiles or something like that, 100% on automobiles, and we only tariff like 15%. So He's making reciprocal tariffs, which I do think is good, except the economies of scale comes into play. The reason that you offer low tariffs in your country is to incentivize people to want to sell to your country. If it's easier to get through, then more goods go through, and that frees up the flow of trade. So it certainly is going to make things more expensive, and it certainly is going to slow everything down in the shipping lanes. I personally have an order coming in from China for some siding, and I will tune in to tell you whether or not I had to pay an extra tax on that on the way in to the country. Trump administration admits error in deporting Maryland resident to El Salvador. Now, the funny thing about this caption, Politico seems to be a fairly left-leaning station or a news network. And what they say is Maryland resident, but what they fail to say is that he's actually a refugee. So, because the article is saying, yeah, no, he had legitimate fear of persecution in his home country. I'm not even going to get into it. I think it's obvious that doing this is extreme, but so was the second bomb in World War II. We didn't have to drop the second bomb, but the decision is you have to take extreme measures in order to keep it from coming back. I think it was Eisenhower who said, no, we must bomb them again, or was it Churchill? One of these two guys. I think it was Churchill that said, no, that's good, and then Eisenhower said, no, we're going to drop the second bomb to basically wipe them out so that it crushes their desire to jump in and do it again. Okay, moving on. CNN, China launches military drills from multiple directions around Taiwan. Testing U.S. resolve. Taiwan is a free nation. China says, no, you are ours. And we say, yeah, we want to buy stuff from Taiwan and China, but we insist that they are free. And the Chinese military is performing some pretty solid drills, basically saying this is a stern warning to the United States. Taiwan. Wait, here we go. The Chinese military said Tuesday it had launched joint exercises involving its Army, Navy, Air Force, and Rocket Force around Taiwan, as a stern warning, days after U.S. Defense Chief Pete Hegseth vowed to counter China's aggression on his first visit to Asia. You've got big powers in the world, and they want to expand. We're all doing it, though. If China wants to take over... So what happens is, I think that there's a backdoor meeting that goes on, and it's between the world powers, and China, U.S., and Russia are the three big boys. North Korea wants to be, but they're just not there yet. But they're on their way. Iran's big, there are big countries, but these are the big world superpowers. China, Russia, the EU, but they're they're so libtarded that they're just... being too democratic is just so many wrenches in the works. It just gums everything up. But I think in the back room, Putin, Xi Jinping, I think is the leader of China, and our current administration, which I don't think is necessarily the president, but the money behind the presidents, the oligarchy. I think they get into a room and they say, yeah, we're gonna do some stuff. We're gonna shake it up. We all want more stuff. We're all in a good position to do it. Nobody wants to actually fight each other, but we can do a theater of war. And they even remind you in here that it's called the Western Theater, the theater of war, the art of war. I think that Russia was number one because Putin's like, yeah, we'll do it. He said, we're gonna take over Ukraine, and then America can take over Greenland, and then China can take over Taiwan, and all the big powers grow and everybody else adjusts. Mark my words. I feel like, God, that makes way too much sense when you think about it like that. $90 million litmus test. Wisconsin court vote becomes a referendum on Musk. So the actual first headline was tests him for becoming a kingmaker. I don't know what happened since I read it first, but maybe I opened up a different article. In Wisconsin, Musk is handing out money to get people to vote. Obviously, he wants them to vote for a judge that he wants in there, Republican judge. So Musk is still at it. I am a Musk fan. I don't know whether or not what he's doing is right. I do think what he's doing currently is necessary, and we will see what happens to my Tesla. I've already got a scratch in the window. Somebody got me. Somebody keyed my Tesla a while back. It was like kind of early on. I think they were doing it here first. All right. Donald Trump updates. White House says case closed in the Signal chat scandal. Nothing to see here, so we're not even going to look at that. Okay. Putin begins biggest Russian military call-up in years, meaning draft. I love how they call it conscriptions. When they want to soften it, they just increase the size of the word. Conscriptions. Putinmir. How come all those guys are named Vladimir? Every single one of these fucking guys is called Vice Administrator Vladimir Timilansky, Vladimir Putin, Vladimir Zelensky. Do we see a pattern here? Like, stop naming him Vladimir. Has called up 160,000 men aged 18 to 30, Russia's highest number of conscripts since 2011. I don't know if you know how a ceasefire works or a peace deal works, but sizing up your military is going to tilt the scales in your favor as to whatever the results of that peace deal were going to be. So either he plans on keeping fighting, or he knows how to bolster his bargaining chip. All right, world keeps running out of helium. There is now a race to prepare for the next shortage. And my thought was, doesn't the sun make helium? Like it consumes hydrogen, and its off gas is helium. I saw this stupid fucking TikTok post. Oh my God, TikTok is an idiot. I saw a TikTok post where a guy said, he was saying, if the sun, if it takes fire, if it takes air to burn, and the sun is in a vacuum, how does the sun burn? And then he was like, so flat Earth. And you're like, oh, fuck off. You don't even know how it works. The sun consumes hydrogen. Space is not actually a vacuum. It has gases and stuff in it. It is simply void of the type of atmosphere and atmospheric pressure that we require to survive. But space is full of stuff. It is not empty. It is vastly empty, but it is full of stuff because of the sheer size of its infinitum. Okay. And then my next question was how to make helium. You can either make it or you can obtain it. You can obtain it from extracting from natural gases. I guess it's a natural gas, usually finds in low deposits. And then the other one is why not make it? Yeah, because it's made of from nuclear fission, which is what the sun does. All right. You know what? I forgot to do the good news. Let's check it out and see what is in store for this week. How Valerie the wiener dog survived 18 months in the Australian bush to make it home. This is like one of those the Homeward Bound stories from when I was a kid. A wiener dog lost in 2023 8 pounds, pampered pooch, and the wiener dog made it home after got lost for 500 days. All right, that's pretty wild. Change has been amazing for depleted mountain. New vegetation comes, deer, pumas, and Andean bears, I guess in the Andes. So there you go. That's a good thing. 25-year conservation program is bearing succulent fruit. All right, that's good. The presumed extinct world's smallest otter found in busy Nepal River after 186 years without a sighting. Ooh, speaking of the Nepal River, I forgot to mention too, I had it listed, but I didn't bring it up. Dang, Myanmar. rocked by an earthquake. Aren't you glad we live here where 7 point something earthquakes are normal and we build for that? Dang, they got rocked by it. Okay. Let's see. In East Africa, rats have prevented 400,000 new cases of deadliest infection using their super sense of smell. What? What infection? For most people, a rat, okay. I hate having to read through the prose of these. Just tell me the news. 400,000 new cases of tuberculosis were estimated to have been prevented by rats whose sense of smell would make a bloodhound take notice. Oh my God, there's the pros again. Okay, as the number one killer among infectious worldwide diseases, many of these 400,000 can be translated into life saved. Okay. Rats are their colleagues. Okay. APOPO, Apopo, uses giant pouched rates. They misspelled it. It says rates. Giant pouched rats to sniff out traces of TB in the saliva of patients in parts of Tanzania. All right. So they do a smear test. They let it smell it. And then I guess the rat can tell if you've got tuberculosis. Wild. Okay. That's pretty neat. Mm-hmm. And, well, I guess it looks like that's about it. Okay. So that was a good one. You can adjust your shorts back to their normal height and consider yourself officially kicked in the dick. I'm Ray Stone. See you on Thursday. Bye.